Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is Monday, October 30th, 2017, and your radio hosts today are
Bianca
and Robert. We'll be reading the news from the Monday Fayetteville Observer. Your weather. Today will feature plenty of sun, but cooler, a high of 61, a low of 42. Tomorrow there will be plenty of sun, the high will be 70, the low 47. Wednesday it will be sunny to partly cloudy and pleasant, a high of 75 and a low of 51. Thursday there will be clouds limiting sun and a high of 67 and a low of 54. Friday will be mostly sunny and pleasant, but a high of 80 and a low of 56. Today in weather history, in 1947, the Donora, Pennsylvania smog disaster came to an end. A 5-day inversion over the Monongahela Valley killed 20 people and left more than 2,000 others sick. Follow Chick Jacobs at FO_weather on Twitter.
Need to know. Literature series Joy A is the speaker for the next Bruce Poly Literature Series scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on November 9th at Owens Auditorium on the campus of Sands Hill Community College in Pinehurst. A writer for the Washington Post will discuss surviving the age of fake news, pseudo science, bunk, and nonsense. The literature is free and open to the public. For more information, call 295-7456. The college is at 3395 Airport Road. Second Vietnam Moving Wall. The half-size replica of the Vietnam Wall will be on display on the parade field of the Airborne and Special Operations Museum, November 9th through the 12th. A torchlight ceremony takes place at 6:30 on November 9th. Flags to honor veterans will be flown on the parade field November 10th through 20th. They can be purchased from the museum for $5. For more information, call 643-2778 or go to shop.asomf.org. The museum is at 100 Brad Boulevard. 3. Peanut Butter and Jelly Campaign. The North Carolina Guardian and Lithium program is collecting plastic jars of peanut butter and jelly through January 17th for distribution to local food banks to raise awareness about what it does. Volunteers with the program advocate for abuse and neglected child in the court system. Last year, Cumberland County's Judicial District 12 served 1,127 children and held more than 6,200 hearings. To become a volunteer, go to volunteerforgal.org. Drop off food items at the agency office in room 2 or lower level of the Cumberland County Courthouse, 117 Dick Street.
Today in history. Today is Monday, October 30th, the 303rd day of 2017. There are 62 days left in the year. Today's highlight: on October 30th, 1944, the Martha Graham Ballet Appalachian Spring, with music by Aaron Copland, premiered at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., with Graham in a leading role. In 1735, the second President of the United States, John Adams, was born in Braintree, Massachusetts. In 1864, Helena, Montana was founded. In 1938, the radio play The War of the Worlds, starring Orson Welles, aired on CBS. In 1945, the U.S. government announced the end of shoe rationing, effective at midnight. In 1953, General George C. Marshall was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. Albert Schweitzer received the Peace Prize for 1952. In 1961, the Soviet Union tested a hydrogen bomb, the Tsar Bomba, with a force estimated at about 50 megatons. And in 1974, Muhammad Ali knocked out George Foreman in the 8th round of a 15-round bout in Kinshasa, Zaire, known as the Rumble in the Jungle, to regain his world heavyweight title. And birthdays for today. Happy birthday to two of our listeners, Betty Jane Starling and Queen McLaughlin. So happy birthday, Betty and Queen. Birthdays, rock singer Grace Slick is 78. Songwriter Eddie Holland is 78. R&B singer Otis Williams of the Temptations is 76. Actress Joanna Shimkus is 74. Actor Henry Winkler is 72. Broadcast journalist Andrea Mitchell is 71. Actor Harry Hamlin is 66. Country singer T. Graham Brown is 63. Actor Kevin Pollak is 60. Rock singer-musician Gavin Rossdale of Bush is 52. Actor Jack Plotnick is 49. Comedian Ben Bailey is 47. Actress Nia Long is 47. Country singer Cassidy Osborne of Che Daisy is 41. Actor Gael Garcia Bernal is 39. Actor Sean Sipo is 36. And actress Janelle Parrish is 29.
Public safety news today. We have Cumberland County. In arrest, we have Gary Michael Washington, 52, of the 5700 block of Meharry Drive, was charged Sunday with possession of cocaine, driving while impaired, and driving while license revoked. Bail was set at $1,300. Vernon Dywin Lawrence, 30, of the 500 block of Albany Street, was charged Sunday with 3 counts of assaulting a law enforcement officer. Bail was set at $33,500. A robbery on Fisher Road. Mayo Jacobs reported at 3:06 p.m. Saturday that someone took money and a recording from her on the 6500 block of Fisher Road. Break-ins, Hickory Hill Road, the 3000 block, reported at 2:14 p.m. Saturday. Cash was taken. Assault, Cumberland Street. An aggravated assault victim reported Saturday that someone attacked him with their hands, feet, and teeth on the 800 block of Cumberland Street. In the Cape Fear region, arrests were in Sanford. Dylan Patrick Zest, 24, of the 200 block of Bounty Lane in Sanford, was charged Saturday with acquiring or obtaining a controlled substance by fraud, trafficking in heroin. Bail was set at $100,000.
2 men charged in theft of pumpkins. The Great Pumpkin Swindle appears to have been thwarted in Fayetteville. Police on Saturday charged 2 Fayetteville men, including the son of the owner of Riley Road Farmers Market and a former manager of the store, with allegedly stealing a half-dozen pumpkins from the business on the 400 block of North Riley Road on the morning of October 22nd, before returning later that day for a refund. The pumpkins were valued at $115.94, according to magistrate's records. Jonathan Michael Pate, 32, of the 2200 block of Brandy Lane, and Bobby Wayne Rich, 26, of the 5100 block of Back Street, have each been charged with obtaining property by false pretense, conspiracy to obtain property by false pretense, and misdemeanor larceny. In a separate incident, Pate also was charged with breaking and entering, larceny after breaking and entering, and possession of stolen goods and property, all felonies. In addition to swiping the pumpkins, records say, Pate entered a building on the 7500 block of Bridgman Drive and allegedly took a steel chainsaw that belonged to his father. The chainsaw was valued at $350. Rich faces an additional charge of misdemeanor second-degree trespassing, records say, after he was told not to remain on the premises of the Riley Road Market. According to magistrate's records, Michael Pate and Rich went to the business early in the morning while the business was closed and took the pumpkins, then returned the same day in the afternoon and requested a refund, knowing the pumpkins were not purchased by them. William Pate, who goes by the name Mike and is owner of the Riley Road business, was said to be in the mountains of North Carolina on Sunday and unavailable for comment. He did not return a message left for comment. Son Michael no longer works at the Riley Road store, according to a friend of the family. Senior Pate owns and operates 2 stores in town, the Riley Road Farmers Market and the Carolina Farmers Market on Rayford Road. Bail was set at $5,000 from Michael Pate and Bobby Rich. The suspects are scheduled to have their first hearing Monday at the Cumberland County Courthouse.
In brief, college, Florida Canes, McElwain, Gainesville, Florida. Florida and Coach Jim McWayne have agreed to part ways a day after a third consecutive loss and nearly a week after he said his players and their families had received death threats. Athletic Director Scott Strickland made the announcement Sunday and named defensive coordinator Randy Shannon the team's interim coach for the final 4 games. The Gators, 3-4, 3-3 Southeastern Conference, surely will hire another offensive-minded coach to start the next rebuild. Mississippi State's Dan Mullen seems like the obvious choice. The 45-year Mullen was Florida's offensive coordinator under Urban Meyer, and his resume includes a number 1 draft pick Alex Smith, an NFL Rookie of the Year Dak Prescott, and a Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow. Other possible candidates: Syracuse Dino Bobbers, Iowa State Matt Campbell, Central Florida Scott Frost, Washington State's Mike Leach, Southern Methodist Chad Morris, Memphis Mike Norville, and South Florida's Charlie Strong. In tennis, Wozniacki claims WTA crown. In Singapore, Caroline Wozniacki won the biggest title of her career when she beat Venus Williams 6-4, 6-4 in the WTA finals on Sunday. The 27-year-old Wozniacki's best previous result at the WTA finals was reaching the final in 2010. Williams won the WTA finals title in 2008. Had won all 7 previous matches against Wozniacki. 8 is my lucky number, so I was hoping if I was going to beat her at least once in my career, it would be today, Wozniacki said. I just went out there and I did my best. Federer wins Swiss, Basel, Switzerland. Roger Federer finally beat Juan Martin del Potro in Swiss indoors final, winning 6-7 in the 5th. 6-4, 6-3 Sunday to go clear in second place on the Open Era title list. Federer's 95th ATP tournament win, the 8th in his hometown Basel event where he was once a ball boy, lifted him out of a tie with Ivan Lendl, trailing only Jimmy Connors, who has 109. Baseball, Nationals hiring Cubs Martinez. In Washington, Dave Martinez will get a chance to try to do what no Washington Nationals manager has accomplished: win a postseason series with the club. Martinez replaces Dusty Baker as Washington's manager. Martinez agreed to a 3-year contract plus an option with the Nationals. A person with knowledge of the deal told the Associated Press on Sunday for a job that will make him a skipper in the majors for the first time. The 53-year-old Martinez has been the bench coach for manager Joe Maddon for the past decade.
One apparently shot outside nightclub. Fayeteville police are investigating a shooting early Sunday in the parking lot of a Bragg Boulevard nightclub that appears to have left a woman injured. According to authorities, police officers heard multiple gunshots around 3:30 a.m. outside Pool Palace, a club on the 3000 block of Bragg Boulevard. Initially, the officers were said to be in the area investigating a report of drug activity when a fight broke out in the parking lot. As the crowd began to disperse, police said officers heard the gunshots as vehicles left the scene. Several minutes after subjects had fled the area, a female victim arrived at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center with a gunshot wound to her lower leg. The injury was not considered life-threatening. Police did not release the name of the victim, and no information is available on a possible suspect, police said, but anyone with information on the shooting is asked to call Fayetteville Cumberland Crime Stoppers at 483-8477 or 1-866-542-8477.
Lakeshore's house fire displaces 3. 3 occupants have been displaced after Fayetteville firefighters responded to residential structure fire in the Lakeshore subdivision Friday. Upon arrival at 10:34 p.m., the first responders reported heavy smoke and fire showing from the home on the 5900 block of Laguna Drive. No injuries were reported, and it was unknown if anyone was at home when the fire started. A damage estimate was unavailable. American Red Cross assistance was requested for the 3 residents of the home.
Clintons aren't that into you by Jonah Goldberg. I'm still trying to make sense of the news that the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign were the forces behind the infamous Steele dossier, a dodgy document full of hearsay about Donald Trump that was put together by an even dodgier outfit called Fusion GPS, which has done shady work on behalf of Russia in the past. Named after Christopher Steele, the former British spy who put it together, the document has scads of salacious but unverified stories about the Russians having compromising material on Trump. The sources for some of the allegations are apparently Russian government officials. My scorecard is a hot mess. For months, defenders of the Trump's campaign meeting with a representative of the Russian government insisted that there's nothing wrong with collecting dirt, even from a hostile foreign power. Just opposition research, went the talking point. Everybody does it. Clinton's acolytes replied that, au contraire, it is borderline treasonous to rely on hostile governments for this kind of thing. But now that the Washington Post has reported that the Clinton campaign and the DNC were behind the Trump dossier, everyone's shoes are on other feet. Team Trump now insists this is outrageously improper, if not treasonous, and Team Clinton is trying to wave it all away with, it's just opposition research, everybody does it. Make of that what you will. I, for one, will wait until we get some people under oath and until the relevant and necessary investigations play themselves out. Still, it seems to me there are only a few obvious takeaways from this development. One is that Trump world only believes the Post is fake news when it reports inconvenient facts about Trump. When Hillary's in the crosshairs, the WAPO is gospel. A second is that Clinton Inc. has been lying for over a year to the country and the press about its involvement in the dossier. As New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman tweeted this week, folks involved in funding this lied about it and with sanctimony for a year. And that brings us to a third, incandescently obvious fact. The Clintons will always abuse, exploit, deceive, and make fools of their biggest fans and friends, the press, the public, and even each other. During the Monica Lewinsky scandal, Bill Clinton lied to the public for a long time, but he also lied to his confidants, including his wife, so that they could go around and sanctimoniously deride and dismiss Bill's accusers, even under oath. This had been Team Clinton's MO long before Lewinsky became a household name. In 1992, the campaign of Clinton set up a whole operation to quash bimbo eruptions, that is, to discredit the victims of Bill's sexual harassment, something to consider amid the discussion of Harvey Weinstein, Bill O'Reilly, and, yes, Trump these days. That was just one tile in the rich mosaic of deceit that is the Clinton way. Bill, who earned the nickname Slick Willie, always believed he was smart enough to talk his way out of anything, and he was often successful. But what came natural to Bill took study for Hillary. He was an improvisational deceiver. She had to prepare. The net result was always the same, though. Their failures were always somebody else's fault. Since the election, Hillary has blamed everyone from the DNC to Bernie Sanders to woman haters everywhere for her loss. And the people who put faith in the Clintons and defended them always end up holding the bag. But the lies were always a symptom of a deeper pathology. The Clintons saw themselves as better than the institutions they were supposed to serve, from the White House and the State Department to the Democratic Party and even the country. The rules are for other people. That's why Clinton Inc. collected millions upon millions of dollars from foreign governments, Wall Street, and Hollywood, while demonizing their opponents as shields for corporations and wealthy interests. That's why Hillary flouted the rules for her email server. That's why Bill flouted the rules for pretty much everything. And at every step, they expected others to protect them, lie for them, clean up after them, and if necessary, go to jail for them. As James McDougal, a former friend and business partner of the Clintons, and a now ancient Whitewater land deal turned scandal, put it, I think the Clintons are really sort of like tornadoes moving through people's lives. I just wanted people left in the wake, but they're passing by. Jonah Goldberg is an editor-at-large of National Review Online and a visiting fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Email him at jonascolumn@aol.com.
In the opinion section today, city's foodie culture just keeps growing. On Wednesday, a lot of people will be asking, where's the food truck? And for the first time since May 31st, they may not be happy with the answer, because the truck, actually a few of them, may not be in Festival Park. The inaugural season of Fayetteville's weekly food truck rodeo has ended. And wow, what a success it's been. The naysayers really got it wrong. The midweek lunchtime gathering of 6 to 8 food trucks in Fayetteville Festival Park has drawn an average of 400 to 500 customers. On one recent Wednesday, more than 700 customers showed up and all of the trucks sold out. Since the rodeos began, more than 9,000 people, some of them devoted regulars, have been served. And the Where's the Truck phenomenon has spread, adding locations in Spring Lake, Hope Mills, and on Village Drive in Fayetteville. The rodeos were sponsored, promoted, and coordinated by Fayetteville's Center for Economic Empowerment and Development, the one economic development agency in the city that really gets the fact that the foodie culture is firmly established here. It's a big market that still has a lot of room to grow. That's why CEED also wants to open a kitchen incubator downtown, a workspace where chef entrepreneurs can launch new ventures or try out new cuisines without facing a crushing overhead. And that's why in the past week, we have had 2 grand opening announcements from new supermarkets in Fayetteville, both of them upscale. Publix Supermarket will open in Tallywood Store at 7:08 a.m. on Saturday, November 11th, and on January 3rd, a Sprouts Farmers Market grocery store that specializes in fresh, natural, organic, and local products will open in new Freedom Town Center. Add to all of that the almost continuous opening of new locally owned and national chain restaurants around the city, and we've got to conclude that the food culture in Fayetteville is just about exploding. The city needs to ride that trend and help it grow. More food festivals seem very much in order, as do marketing campaigns that lead the rest of the world. Know that Fayetteville is becoming a food destination. One more distinction as the city continues to leave its own old, battered reputation in the dust. The downtown food truck gathering with a remarkable variety of excellent food, was authorized by the City Council through last Wednesday. We'd like to see the event expand its calendar and operate as close to year-round as is practical. If that doesn't work out, CEED officials say they may be able to find an alternative downtown location. City leaders would be wise to build on that success. A lot of Fayeteville residents will raise a happy toast if the city and CEED can make that happen.
Letter to the editor. Trump stalking Clinton. Amber Abreu of Winnebago writes, "We seriously need help from Senators Tillis and Burr. We have a major problem on our hands as a country. I would like to request you take a good look at Donald Trump's mental health. I'm worried he may try to hurt former Secretary Clinton. He is obsessed with her. Says if he stalks her. He mentions her several times a week. He calls her names and lies about her. I'm concerned for her safety. A president shouldn't target an American citizen. He literally stalks her. Please impeach this man before he does something to really hurt her. He needs a mental health evaluation ASAP. This is far from normal."
Monday moment. Dancing Skeleton enjoys her work. In the photograph, you have Valerie Devereaux waves to passing motorists on Friday on Rayford Road. She's dressed in a skeleton costume with her advertisement for Halloween Express pointing the arrow to passerbys. Valerie Devereaux was dancing on the sidewalk by Rayford Road on Friday when the driver of a work truck honked the horn. The honk wasn't a warning, but Devereaux, who was wearing a skeleton suit and holding a sign pointing toward the Halloween Express store, it was encouragement. "When they blow their horns, it makes me feel great," she said. "It keeps me pumped up." Devereaux swayed back and forth and held the sign above her head. "Mama said I was going to be famous one day," she said as vehicles zipped by a few yards away. A joke about her costume also included a reference to her mother. "Mama said if I don't eat, I'd be skin and bones one day," she said. She got it right. Devereaux said, "The job is fun. I enjoy myself out here," she said. After a few minutes, the skeleton was joined by a zombie and a hippie. Before long, a man in a car yells, "Woo-hoo!" as he goes by. Chelsea Cruz, 24, was wearing a dress with flowers on it and round sunglasses. She said she likes the attention she gets when wearing the costumes, especially when someone hangs their head out the car window and yells at her. "It'll start to get boring, and they'll do that," she said. "It's like, yeah, let's go." Angelica Albert, 19, was wearing the tattered clothes of a zombie. She says she likes working in the morning so she can wave and smile at grumpy people in the cars. I feel like I can make their day," she said. Devereaux said some people in cars often yell, "You go, girl," as they go by. She said the secret to doing the job well is to be very animated. That's not a problem for her. She plays upbeat music in earbud. Devereaux said she also has dressed up as a ninja. Her favorite costume to wear is the Mad Hatter. When people see that, they just start laughing, she said. Albert said people often give her a thumbs up or tell her she's doing a good job. She's glad that working at the store is her first job because she loves Halloween. "I pretty much celebrate Halloween every day of the year," she said. Cruz said Halloween is her favorite holiday. "Working here is all I need," she said. "It satisfies everything for the holiday." Jenna Walsh, the owner of the store, said children often want their parents to stop when someone dressed as a superhero is by the road. She says she likes to put on a costume and try to attract customers. If you saw a hot dog out there the other day, that was me, she said. Staff writer Steve Devane can be reached at sdevane@fayobserver.com, or you can call him at 486-3572. Submit your idea. The Monday Moment highlights every day slice of life happenings in the community. If you have a story idea, email news@fayobserver.com. Put Monday Moment in the subject line.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our address is P.O. Box 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at area code 910-672-1600 or toll free at 1-844-709-5656. The radio hosts are
Beverlyn Simonette
and Robert Bean, and we are proud to serve you today. Cumberland Matters. Take advantage of one-stop early voting by John Souls. One-stop early voting for Cumberland County municipal elections continues through Saturday. The election is for Fayetteville, Falcon, Godwin, Hope Mills, Linden, Wade, Eastover, Spring Lake, Stedman, and the Eastover Sanitary District. Citizens who want to take advantage of early voting but are not registered to vote may do same-day registration during one-stop early voting if they provide acceptable documentation. The registrant needs to present or show a document that lists current name and address in Cumberland County. One-stop early voting is held at the Cumberland County Board of Elections office weekdays from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Saturday's time is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Board of Elections is located in the East Newton Smith Center on 227 Fountainhead Lane. The deadline for sick and disabled to vote is Monday, November 6th at 5 p.m. During this time, voters who are sick and disabled may ask for a ballot over the counter at Board of Elections and return the ballot no later than 5 p.m. on November 7th. November 7th is the municipal election. All polling stations and the Board of Elections will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. For complete voter information or to find your polling place, go online to co.cumberland.nc.us/elections.aspx or call 678-7733 for more information. Master Gardener. Cumberland County's Extension Master Gardener Volunteer Program will offer training classes for persons interested in becoming Extension Master Gardener volunteers beginning January 11th and continuing through April 26th. The class will meet every Thursday from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the Cooperative Extension I.B. Julian Auditorium on 301 East Mountain Drive in Fayetteville. The deadline to apply is November 22nd. There is a fee for the training, which covers training supplies and the Extension Master Gardener Manual. Applications are now being accepted and can be obtained by calling 321-6405. Applications may also be found on the Cooperative Extension website at cumberland.ces.ncsu.edu. For more information, contact Jason Wethington at 321-6870. Cumberland Update. Tuesday is Halloween. Trick-or-treating hours for Cumberland County are 6 to 8 p.m. Saturday is the last day for one-stop early voting. To vote early, visit the Cumberland County Board of Elections office in the East Newton Smith Center on 227 Fountainhead Lane from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturday is also Writers' Workshop from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the headquarters library. Learn from best-selling authors, writers of children's literature, and award-winning poets, and meet other local writers. Sunday, the Writers' Workshop is from 1 to 5:30 p.m. at Headquarters Library. Learn from best-selling authors, writers of children's literature, and award-winning poets, and meet other local writers. November 6th, registration deadline for Better Living series, Bringing Nature In for the Holidays. Learn how to use natural materials for your holiday decorations. Class is November 9th from noon to 2 p.m. To register, call 321-6405. John Souls is the Public Information Specialist for Cumberland County Government. You can reach him by calling 321-6579 or emailing co.cumberland.nc.us.
Puerto Rico to cancel contract. San Juan, Puerto Rico, the head of Puerto Rico's power company, said Sunday the agency will cancel its $300 million contract with Whitefish Energy Holdings amid increased scrutiny of the tiny Montana company's role in restoring the island's power system following Hurricane Maria. The announcement by Ricardo Ramos came hours after Governor Ricardo Rosillo urged the utility to scrape the deal for Whitefish help in rebuilding the electrical system. It's an enormous distraction, Ramos said of the controversy over the contract. This was negatively impacting the work we're already doing. The current work by Whitefish teams will not be affected by the cancellation, and that work will be completed in November, Ramos said. He said the cancellation will delay pending work by 10 to 12 weeks if no alternatives are found. Ramos said he had not talked with Whitefish executives about his announcement. A lawsuit could be forthcoming, he warned. Whitefish spokesman Chris Chimes told the Associated Press that the company was very disappointed in the governor's decision and said it would only delay efforts to restore power. He said Whitefish brought 350 workers to Puerto Rico in less than a month, and it expected to have 500 more by this week. Chimes said the company completed critical work, including a project that will soon lead to 500,000 people in San Juan getting power. We will certainly finish any work that the power company wants us to complete and stand by our commitments, he said. Roughly 70% of the U.S. territory remains without power more than a month after Maria struck on September 20th as a Category 4 storm with winds of up to 154 miles per hour. Ramos said Sunday that the total of cost of restoring the system would come to $1.2 billion. The cancellation is not official until approved by the Utilities Board. Ramos said it would take effect 30 days after that. Ramos said the company already has paid Whitefish $10.9 million to bring its workers and heavy equipment to Puerto Rico and has a $9.8 million payment pending for work done. So Ramos said cancellation of the contract will not lead to a penalty, but it's likely the government will pay at least $11 million for the company to go home early, including all costs incurred in the month after the cancellation. Federal investigators have been looking into the contract award to the small company from Interior Secretary Ryan Zyke's hometown, and the deal is being audited at the local and federal level. Ramos said the company contacted Puerto Rico's Electric Power Authority 2 days before the storm hit, at a time when it was becoming clear the hurricane could cause massive damage. Ramos earlier said he had spoken with at least 5 other companies that demanded rates similar to those of Whitefish, but almost wanted a down payment the agency did not have. He said Sunday he hadn't consulted with anyone else about signing the deal and didn't notify the governor's office for a week. He again praised Whitefish's work. They're doing an excellent job, he said. There's nothing illegal here, of that we're sure, he said, adding that he welcomes a federal investigation. The process was done according to the law. Ramos said his agency at first believed the Federal Emergency Management Agency pre-approved contracts, something the agency has denied. FEMA said it has not approved any reimbursement requests from the power company for money to cover repairs to the island's electrical system. The contract said the utility would not pay costs unallowable under FEMA grants, but it also said the federal government is not a party to this contract. FEMA has raised concerns about how Whitefish got the deal and whether the contracted prices were reasonable. The 2-year-old company had just 2 full-time employees when the storm hit, but it has since hired more than 300 workers. The White House had 2 comments Sunday. Last week, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the federal government had no role in the process that led to awarding the contract. This was something solely determined by the Puerto Rican government, she said Friday. Rogelio said he was requested that crews from New York and Florida come help restore power in Puerto Rico as he criticized the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for not meeting its goals. The agency could not be immediately reached for comment. The governor also announced the appointment of an outside coordinator to oversee the power company's purchase and contracting division. If something illegal was done, once again, the officials involved in that process will feel the full weight of the law, and I will take administrative actions, Rosolio said. A Whitefish contract obtained by the Associated Press found that the deal included $20,277 an hour for a heavy lift Chinook helicopter, $650 an hour for a large crane truck, $322 an hour for a foreman of a power line crew, $319 an hour for a journeyman lineman, and $286 an hour for a mechanic. Each worker also gets a daily allowance of $80 for food, $332 for a hotel room, and $1,000 for each flight to or from the mainland. The company is based in Whitefish, Montana. Zeke, a former Montana congressman, knows Whitefish CEO Andy Tekmanansky, and Zeke's son also had a summer job at a Whitefish construction site. I had absolutely nothing to do with Whitefish Energy receiving a contract in Puerto Rico, Zink recently said in a statement linked to a tweet. Any attempts by the dishonest media or political operatives to tie me to awarding or influencing any contract involving Whitefish are completely baseless.
Raising awareness, one pink mustache at a time by Kim Hasty. Ron John has an unusual take on Casual Fridays, fuchsia facial hair. Every Friday during the month of October for the last 3 years, he has meticulously dyed his Fu Manchu-style mustache and sideburns bright pink, drawing considerable attention as he makes the rounds in his job as computer support supervisor at Fayeteville Technical Community College. "Nice mustache," a passerby calls out. "Looking good, Ron," someone else says. "I get a lot of support," John said. "Once they realize I'm not dressed up for Halloween. They couldn't believe I go to work like this, but it doesn't bother me." His pink baseball hat, embroidered with a pink ribbon and the words mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, makes it clear this is no frivolous folly. He's here to raise breast cancer awareness and to express gratitude for the fact that his wife of 29 years, Elisa, seems to have beaten the disease. She was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer in 2015 during her annual mammogram, then underwent surgery and 33 radiation treatments over the next 2 months. Her husband became part of an often overlooked fraternity. "I would smother and hover," he said. "I was very involved in it. The radiation made her tired, so I picked up some extra duties. She doesn't like me to do the laundry because I don't sort laundry the way she does, so I'd let her sort it and then I'd wash and dry it." At the ribbon walk for cancer at Festival Park later that year, Ron John embarked on dyeing his facial hair, which proved to start a trend. "I was the only one I saw that year," he said. The next year there were all sorts of colors. The Johns also used their collective baking talents to raise money for the Cancer Center at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. For years, the couple has turned out dozens of cookies to give as Christmas presents. They still bake their cookies. These days, Ron also specializes in pound cakes, while Elisa bakes cheesecakes. They sell the cakes to family and friends, then donate the proceeds to the Cancer Center. They coined their effort, Cakes for Cause. "Baking is a stress outlet for me," he said. "My wife is very good at making cheesecakes. She makes an apple caramel cheesecake that's really good. And then I do a key lime pound cake, a lemon pound cake, a traditional, a cream cheese. I've got about 6 different pound cakes." John orders his tubes of pink dye online. He ordered a few extra tubes, but in 3 years of pink mustaches, he's still on his first tube. Life goes a long way, it seems, in one man's crusade to bring awareness to a disease that strikes 1 in 8 women. "He's such a dear man, such a humble person," said Desandra Washington, Associate Vice President for Academic Support on FTCC Spring Lake campus and a fan of the John's baked goods, as well as Ron's pink efforts. "He's so supportive of his family, and he should be commended for that."
Find 5 things to know about Halloween. Have a photograph of a young man dressed in his costume shopping downtown in the business district. They welcome Halloween trick-or-treaters from 4 to 6 on Tuesday. Halloween is Tuesday, but before your monsters, ghouls, and superheroes head out the door to collect treats, here are 5 things you need to know. Number 1, what are the hours for trick-or-treating? The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office says trick-or-treating should take place between 6 and 8 p.m. Number 2, is anyone doing anything special for Halloween? As they have in years past, many downtown businesses will be ready to welcome children from 4 to 6 p.m. Tuesday. The Cool Spring Downtown District is expecting nearly 50 shops, restaurants, and others to take part this year. Go to the Facebook event page for more information and a downloadable map of participating locations. Number 3, anything else? While you're downtown, you also can check out carriage rides with the Count. Folks can get a scary tour of downtown Fayeteville from 3 to 8 p.m. when Count Dracula perfectly horrible carriage rides will be offered. Tickets for the 10-minute rides are $10 for adults and $5 for children under 10. Tickets will be available starting at 2 p.m. at the Cool Spring Downtown Alliance District Center located at 222 Hay Street. Number 4, what about safety issues? Before children go out, parents should discuss a safe route and establish a return time. Children should travel in familiar areas. Make sure an adult or responsible youth is supervising the outing. Make sure children carry a flashlight or glow stick or have reflective tape on their clothing so they are visible to motorists. Make sure children don't eat any treats until an adult has had an opportunity to check the candy. Number 5. What about motorists? Motorists should watch for children darting out from between parked cars. Also, keep an eye for children walking on roadways, medians, and curbs. Compiled by Lori Williams. Enjoy your trick-or-treating!
Doctors prepare to dive into shooter's brain by Sally Ho, The Associated Press, Las Vegas. Scientists are preparing to do a microscopic study of the Las Vegas gunman's brain, but whatever they find, if anything, likely won't be what led him to kill 58 people in the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history, experts said. Stephen Paddock's brain is being sent to Stanford University for a months-long examination. After a visual inspection during an autopsy found no abnormalities, Las Vegas authorities said. Doctors will perform multiple forensic analyses, including an exam of the 64-year-old's brain tissue to find any possible neurological problems. The brain will arrive in California soon, and Stanford has been instructed to spare no expense for the work, the New York Times reported. Will be further dissected to determine if Paddock suffered from health problems such as strokes, blood vessel diseases, tumors, some types of epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, degenerative disorders, physical trauma, and infections. Dr. Hans Vogel, Stanford University Medical Center's Director of Neuropathology, would not discuss the procedure with the Associated Press and referred questions to officials in Clark County, where Las Vegas is located. They also refused to provide details. Vogel told the Times that he will leave nothing overlooked to put to rest much of the speculation on Paddock's health as investigators struggled to identify a motive for the shooting. The examination will come about a month after Paddock unleashed more than 1,000 bullets through the window of a 32nd floor suite at the Mandalay Bay Casino Hotel into a crowd below attending an outdoor country music festival. After killing 58 people and wounding hundreds more, Paddock took his own life with a shot through his mouth, police say. Investigators working around the clock remain frustrated by a lack of clues that would point to his motive. Authorities have resorted to putting up billboards in southern Nevada, seeking tips, and now the intensive brain study that medical experts say likely won't yield definitive answers. If a disease is found, experts say it would be false science to conclude it caused or perhaps even contributed to the massacre, even if that explanation would ease the minds of investigators and the world at large. There's a difference between association and causality, and just because you have anything doesn't mean it does anything, said Brian Peterson, president of the National Association of Medical Examiners and chief coroner of Wisconsin's Milwaukee County. The microscopic study is not a standard practice, but is regularly used as needed. Families sometimes request such a detailed examination to better understand their own genetic risk. Peterson said it's also common in high-profile cases such as Paddock's, where so much is riding on the results that all forensic options must be exhausted. Douglas Fields, a neuroscientist who studies the RAID circuit and brain systems, said horribly violent events, such as mass shootings and terrorism, rarely involve actual brain abnormalities but can be triggered by psychiatric problems. Perpetrators often are suicidal psychopaths who are motivated to commit heinous crimes because they have internalized their isolation and antisocial behavior as an existential threat for themselves, he said. The police look for motive. It's kind of misplaced in cases like this because they appear to be crimes of rage. There's no motive for crimes of rage. It's a crime of passion, Fields said. One such case involved the University of Texas shooter Charles Whitman, who fatally shot 13 people in 1966 from a clock tower on the Austin campus. Whitman was found to have a pecan-sized tumor in his brain, though the suggestion that it caused his rampage is still debated decades later. Peterson, who was not involved in the Paddock case, said an initial inspection that is standard for any autopsy would generally include dissecting the brain at 1 centimeter intervals to look for issues identifiable to the trained eye: infection, tumor, symmetry, bleeding, and blood vessel abnormality. A further study would involve a microscopic focus on the tissue cells, such as using stains to determine different types of dementia and other degenerative diseases, including chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is sometimes found in people who have suffered repetitive brain trauma. There also would likely be a review of the brain at a molecular level through DNA, Peterson said. Experts say the brain study on Paddock will be a worthy effort for scientific reasons. Dr. Paul S. Applebaum, a psychiatry expert at Columbia University, said that at minimum it might yield something even tangential that can be passed on to the public, such as awareness for psychological disorders or brain diseases. Are we ever going to know for certain what caused his brain to do that? Applebaum asked. Probably not from a neuropathological examination, but it's not unreasonable to ask and see whether it might contribute to our understanding of what occurred.
Teen Chronicles World War II Vets Stories. Their hero, says 19-year-old Risha Sharma. Risha Sharma says he's interviewed just north of 750 U.S. World War II combat veterans since he was in high school. He's far from finished. My mission is to meet and interview as many World War II combat veterans as possible, he said Sunday evening. They are heroes to me. The 19-year-old son of Indian immigrants, who is from the Los Angeles area, says he's on the road 24/7, roaming the nation in his Honda Civic. I live out of a car, he said, in a phone interview from Charlotte after conducting an interview with a former World War II Sherman tank bow runner earlier in the day in Gastonia. Sharma is eager to talk to military veterans in Fayeteville and the surrounding area, especially those who served in the infantry and in combat duty during the Second World War. As of Sunday, he said, he had not had any success here. He expects to be in North Carolina through Sunday. Sharma can be reached on a temporary number at 1-929-313-9037. Once again, 1-929-313-9037. His email is heroes of the Second World -war @gmail.com. Once again, heroes of the Second World -war @gmail.com. In June 2016, Sharma graduated from Agra High School in Agra Hills in Los Angeles County. Before then, he rode his bicycle from one nursing home to another, chronicling the lives and battle experiences of World War II vets. People started calling him and telling him about veterans that they knew. Then veterans began phoning him. I was meeting real heroes, he said. In December, CBS did a segment on his personal undertaking on its program Sunday morning. I have no plans for university, he said. Ever since I graduated from high school, I've been driving across the nation on a mission to interview 2 or 3 World War II combat veterans every day until the last one passes away. Each one, said Sharma, shares a different story. Each one recalls a combat experience that's unique. Every person's story about getting in the war is different, he said. Each interview I do is like starting all over again. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts are
Robert Bean
and Beverlyn Simonette, and we are proud to serve you today.
It's the top of the hour, time for death notices. The following deaths have been reported. Upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer will contain complete obituary information. In Cumberland County, Stanley J. Podobensky, 92, of Fayetteville, formerly of Spring Lake, Adcock Funeral Home and Crematory. J. U. Nicholson, 80, of Fayetteville, Adcock Funeral Home and Crematory. In the Cape Fear region, Michelle Moody, 65, of Laurinburg, Purcell Funeral Home, Laurinburg. Charles B. Morris, Jr., 19, of Laurinburg, McFatter Funeral Home. David L. McCrimmon, Jr., 41, of Southern Pines, Simon Funeral Homes, Southern Pines. Pocahontas Killens Thompson, 90, of Fairmont Hills Funeral Home. Lorene Williams McQueen, of Southern Pines, Simon Funeral Home, Southern Pines. Lincoln Elliott, 67, of Broadway, Dafford Funeral Home, Dunn. Gloria Spencer, 55, of Carthage, Pugh and Smith Funeral Home. James Lewis, 75, of Fairmont Hills Funeral Home. And Ruthie Hollingsworth, 93, of Rayford Dewey Funeral Home. Cumberland County, Matthew William Matt Giacone, 29, of Fayetteville, died Thursday, October 26, 2017. The memorial service will be held on Tuesday, October 31st, 2017 at 12:30 p.m. in Hay Street United Methodist Church, Reverend David Blackman presiding. The family will receive friends prior to the service from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the church. In lieu of flowers, the family asks that memorials be made to Charlotte Rescue Mission, 907 West 1st Street, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28202. Region and elsewhere. James Edward Bowie, 99, of Charlotte, died Tuesday, October 24th, 2017. The funeral will be held Tuesday at 2 p.m. at McLaughlin Chapel AME Zion Church, and the viewing will be at Bowie's Funeral Home on 543 Bass Road Monday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. The burial will be at Highland Biblical Gardens. Service is entrusted to Bowie's Funeral Home. Tama Delane Phillips, 62, of Red Springs, died Friday, October 27, 2017. A memorial will be held Sunday at 3 p.m. at Boyle's Funeral Home Chapel. Service is entrusted to Boyle's Funeral Home of Red Springs. Hillary Hope Hodge, 40, of Lincoln County, Missouri, died Thursday, October 26, 2017. The memorial will be held Monday at 2 p.m. at North Lumberton Baptist Church. The visitation will be at the church prior to the service from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Service is entrusted to Floyd Mortuary. Margie Lewis, 76, of Bladenboro, died Saturday, October 28, 2017. The funeral will be held Tuesday at 11 a.m. at New Center Baptist Church. Visitation will also be at New Center Baptist Church Monday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The burial will be at Lewis Cemetery. Service is entrusted to Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home. Lou Pope Royal, 89, of Dunn, died Sunday, October 29, 2017. The funeral will be held Tuesday at 11 a.m. a Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. The visitation will be at Skinner and Smith Funeral Home Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The burial will be at Greenwood Cemetery. And that concludes today's obituaries.
Convicted murderer attends Bergdahl's trial. I got my firing squad standing by. Ex-Green Beret George Marexit says in courtroom. An apparent security lapse enabled a convicted murderer to access Sergeant Bo Bergdahl's sentencing hearing last week, where the individual made the threatening remarks about the former Taliban prisoner who has pleaded guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. George Marasek, 85, was only a few feet from Bergdahl on Wednesday when he turned to another individual seated in the courtroom gallery and said, "I'll be glad when this crap is over. I got my firing squad standing by." Marasek's comment was overheard by a Washington Post reporter. Bergdahl's attorney overheard him make other threatening statements, and a member of the sentencing proceedings alerted authorities. The Army has refused to answer questions about the incident, which alarmed court officers and triggered a security alert at the sprawling military complex outside of Fayeteville. According to two people with direct knowledge of the matter, they spoke on the condition of anonymity, citing the extreme sensitivity surrounding Bergdahl's legal proceedings. Bergdahl, 31, faces life in prison, having pleaded guilty earlier this month to charges that stem from his 2009 disappearance in Afghanistan. He was captured by the Taliban and held hostage for 5 years, routinely enduring torture before his release was secured as part of a controversial prisoner exchange in 2014. The sentencing hearing began October 23rd with a motion from Bergdahl's attorney to dismiss the case. They argued that President Donald Trump improperly used his position as commander-in-chief to interfere in the process when he referred back to inflammatory statements he made during the presidential campaign. Trump at the time called Bergdahl a dirty, rotten traitor and suggested he should be executed. The judge, Army Colonel Jeffrey R. Nance, is yet to rule on the motion. Marasek, a retired Army colonel, is a highly decorated Green Beret whose bravery during the Vietnam War earned him a Distinguished Service Cross and Silver Star, prestigious valor awards that rank second and third respectively behind only the Medal of Honor. Decades later, in 2000, he was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 30 years in prison for killing his wife in 1991. Marasek spent 3 years in a state correctional facility before earning an early release in 2003. Marasek did not respond to a phone message seeking comment. On Wednesday, he arrived at Fort Bragg wearing an Army combat uniform outfitted with his rank and Special Forces insignia. In the courtroom, he clutched a tightly shaped Green Beret. It was after the day's proceedings adjourned and Marasek had departed that security was alerted. A spokesman from Fort Bragg refused to discuss the matter, confirming only there had been an unspecified incident during Wednesday's proceeding. Army officials at the Pentagon referred the post to Army Forces Command, which is coordinating Bergdahl's legal proceedings. Officials there also refused to discuss the matter. Bergdahl is escorted to and from the courthouse by at least one armed policeman, with others in the immediate area, but Marasek's threatening remarks and his ability to access the base despite his criminal history raised questions about the Army security measures for the high-profile trial. Those attending the proceedings must pass through the metal detectors and face additional scans from military police via handheld metal detector wands. The media's movement also is tightly controlled. Marisex, a military retiree, can access the base and park his car in front of the courthouse proceedings presenting just his ID, while those visiting Fort Bragg should have their identification cards and electronically scanned and run through a criminal's records database. A former military police officer at the base told the Post that the ID scanners often don't function properly, so the gate guards simply check to ensure the IDs have not expired. Nance informed the court Thursday that authorities were notified after someone made troubling remarks from the gallery during the prior day's proceedings. Fort Bragg's military police unit issued a beyond the lookout alert, but it does not appear authorities are actively searching for Mariseck. One soldier familiar with the trial security operation said military police were instructed to question him if he returns. The Army has not asked local police or the U.S. Marshal Service for help finding Mariseck. Officials with those agencies said Bergdahl's case has sparked a bitter debate within the military and throughout the country between those who believe he endangered the lives of fellow service members tasked with finding him and those who feel his years in captivity are sufficient punishment for his offenses. Trump amplified the argument when saying during a 2015 campaign rally in Massachusetts, "That's right, boom, 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 he's gone, while he pantomimed firing a pistol. Speaking to reporters earlier this month, the president declined to say whether his previous attacks on Bergdahl may have unfairly influenced the soldier's decision to plead guilty. But he added, "I think people have heard my comments in the past." In court last week, Nance explained that his interpretation of Trump's meaning was, "I shouldn't comment on that, but I think everyone knows what I think about Bo Bergdahl." Bergdahl's lawyers have seized on Trump's remarks to argue that the case should be dismissed.
Billy Graham. We can only change from within by turning to Christ. M.M. writes, "If you could change just one thing about the world, what would it be? I suppose in some ways the world is a better place than it was a few centuries ago, but when I look at today's headlines, it doesn't seem like we've made any progress, does it?" Billy Graham answers, "You're right. In spite of advances in science and technology, we face the same problems today that the human race has faced throughout history. Wars, famines, conflicts, immorality, loneliness, irrational evil. The list is almost endless. The Bible's diagnosis is still true. Yet man is born to trouble as surely as sparks fly upward." Job chapter 5, verse 7. What is our basic problem? The basic problem is within us, within our own hearts and minds. Even if we invent things that will bring great benefit to the human race, evil minds will use them to bring great destruction. How else can you explain, for example, those who hack our computers or distribute dangerous drugs that can kill thousands? The prophet Jeremiah was right. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. If I could change one thing about the world, it would be our hearts and minds. But I can't do that, and neither can anyone else except God. This is why we need Christ, for only He can change us from within by His Holy Spirit. And this can happen as we turn to Him and invite Him to come into our lives as our Savior and Lord. Yes, we live in a world that's often chaotic and even evil, but in the midst of it we can have peace as we turn to Christ for the forgiveness and new life we need. Why not invite Christ into your life today? Readers can write to the Reverend Billy Graham, the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28201, or call 877-2-GRAHAM. The website for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is It's at billygraham.org.
Dear Abby, tarnished second husband fails to earn sister-in-law's approval. Dear Abby, my sister Eileen is married to her second husband, a man I'll call Harry. He's nice, but some of his choices landed him in jail for a while. I'm polite when we see him, but I don't trust him. Eileen and Harry live beyond their means. They rent a large house and buy luxury cars rather than something more economical. These are my observations. I never mentioned them to my sister, although she's happy to give advice on what's wrong with my life. She becomes defensive if anyone else says anything about how she lives. My concern is she refuses to visit or spend time with me and my family without her husband. Before our mom's death a few years ago, I offered to buy her an airline ticket to fly her here for a few days to visit because she's very organized. I recently invited her to come at my expense and offered to pay her to help me declutter my house. She declined both invitations because I wouldn't buy a ticket for Harry. I didn't have the money. I think my sister's marriage is very codependent. Abby, what should I do? Want some sister time. Dear, want some sister time. While Harry may have made some poor choices in the past, for which she has paid the penalty, he seems to make your sister happy. Assuming that you have told her you love and miss her and would like to be able to spend sister time with her, I think it's time to accept that they are a package deal and stop trying to separate them. Because you crave sister time, offer to go there and visit her. She seems to be happily living the life she has chosen. So stop putting negative labels on her relationship with her husband. Dear Abby, I never thought I'd be writing you, but I have a situation that needs an objective opinion. My husband works for a small company owned by a nice couple. They have a teenage daughter who keeps asking to babysit our three kids. Abby, we have a special needs child and a new baby. Although the girl seems to be kind and responsible, our children would be a challenge for an adult, let alone a teenager. Also, we are a very tight one-income budget with money needed for therapies. I don't want to mention it because I don't want to insinuate they aren't paying my husband enough, but it's a serious deterrent. How can I gracefully decline her offers without offending my husband's employer? Keeping him in good standing with his company is my primary concern because he works hard and loves his job. Anonymous in the USA. Dear Anonymous, explain your refusal as a abridged version of what you wrote to me. Thank the girl for her kind offer and tell her that because your older child has special needs and the baby requires constant supervision, you prefer not to have anyone babysit until they are older. The explanation is reasonable, logical, and the truth. Readers can write to Dear Abby at dearabby.com or P.O. Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
Horoscope by Stella Wilder. Born today, you are not one to work any sort of injustice well, especially when any kind of bullying is involved. You will fight tooth and nail against anyone who tries to coerce you, cajole you, push you, pressure you, or otherwise attempt to rebel upon you against your will, and you are especially forceful when you are protecting other, weaker individuals against such bullying. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. Pay close attention to instructions and guidelines and heed all warnings today. It's time to commit to a very realistic project. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. You can expect a big change to come upon you very soon, and it will begin in small ways this very day with a change in attitude. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Frustration with recent results inspires you to come up with a new strategy today that almost immediately yields results. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. You must devise a plan that you and your allies can follow step by step. Now is not the time to trust your fate to mere improvisation. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. You're thinking big, whereas those around you may be limiting themselves to ideas that worked in the past. Egg them on. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. You may find yourself regretting a recent decision that cannot be rescinded. What you can do is make changes accordingly. Taurus, April 20th through May 20th. You'll be the subject of some considerable scrutiny today. Be ready to explain yourself in terms that anyone can understand. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Take care today that in an attempt to be thorough, you don't do anything that is unnecessary or inappropriate. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. You may not understand why someone has stepped out of line in some way, but you can respond in a manner that restores unity. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. You may find it hard to accept what someone else is doing today. To begin with, it would be best to answer any and all questions honestly and plainly. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. You may have to break with tradition today and try something you would not have considered prior to today's developments. And Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. You may be confused by someone else's behavior, which is not at all reflected in the talk you've recently had.
Cancer is killing firefighters. The Fayeteville Fire Department is taking steps to combat a deadly disease that's quickly becoming the leading cause of death for members of the fire service. Cancer is killing firefighters. There's no doubt about it, said Captain J. Leonard of the Fayeteville Fire Department. We are waking up to the fact that cancer is in the fire service is real. He knows, having been diagnosed with 3 types of skin cancer since 2015. A melanoma, the deadliest of skin cancers, was cut from his jaw in 2016. Leonard believes the cancers are a result of his years as a firefighter. About a dozen of Fayetteville's current firefighters are battling some form of cancer, Leonard said, and at least 6 died from the disease shortly after leaving the fire service. The department has launched a cancer prevention initiative in an effort to educate and protect firefighters of today and the future. I wish someone had given me this information when I started, said Deputy Chief Mike Hill, who is in charge of the committee that put the program together. For those of us who have been here 20 years or more, we know we're at risk. For years, firefighters fought fires, not realizing that post-fire cleanup was as important as wearing their turnout gear and helmets. Traditionally, Leonard said, that firefighters embraced dirty helmets and gear. They were wearing dirty, contaminated gear and helmets to look cool, but they were carrying contaminants and carcinogens, Leonard said. Fire trucks on fire scenes were similarly exposed, he said, all combined to increase a firefighter's risk of developing cancer, Leonard said. He did a survey of safety and health practices of the department's 365 firefighters and 212 responded, he said. Of those, 27% say they don't regularly shower after a fire. 63% have never undergone a cancer screening. 55% admit they don't wash their gear after a working fire. And 80% don't know if cancer-related death is covered with a life insurance policy. Those things will change under the Cancer Preventive Initiative. Washing off coats, pants, and helmets before leaving a fire scene will become standard in an effort to prevent contamination of a truck's interior, Leonard said. Trucks are being equipped with a decontamination bucket that will include scrub brushes, large trash bags for use, boots, and a bottle of Dawn dish detergent used for cleaning uniforms. Trucks will be cleaned and showers will be required after each working fire call, Leonard said. The initiative calls for installing special vacuum hoses for use on trucks at each station. The equipment will be standard at any stations built in the future, Leonard said. The cost of implementing the steps is about $600,000. Realistically, we can't do all this at one time, Hill said. We just really ramped up the initiative and we plan to deliver it to the City Council. Staff writer McCleary can be reached at McCleary@FayObserver.com, 486-3568.
Men Must Do Better, Be Better by Leonard Pitts Jr. How many is this now? I've lost track of the number of prominent men who've been accused of sexual harassment in the weeks since the New York Times outed movie producer Harvey Weinstein as an alleged serial offender. Lupita Nyong'o, Angelina Jolie, and Ashley Judd are among the dozens of women he reportedly subjected to behavior that was by turns bullying, sleazy, and intimidating. Even as shockwaves from that news were still rolling outward, similar accusations began piling up against an assortment of other powerful men. They include celebrity chef John Besh, who stands accused by over 24 women, actor Ben Affleck, caught on an old video groping actress Hillary Burton, journalist Mark Halperin, alleged to have sexually harassed 5 women and grabbed one by her breast, director James Tugak, whose accusers number over 230. They also include the 41st President of the United States, 93-year-old George H.W. Bush, accused of touching actress Heather Lynn inappropriately from his wheelchair during a photo op. As if that were not bad enough, news broke last week of yet another payout, $32 million by Bill O'Reilly to yet another woman who said that the post-cable news kingpin sexually harassed her. She also said they had what the New York Times called a non-consensual sexual relationship. It sounds like a tortured way of saying he raped her. Clearly, we are having ourselves a moment here. It reflects not a sudden increase in sexual harassment, but rather a sudden increase in the courage of women to defy their own hurt, confusion, and humiliation, so as to put names and faces to acts of thuggery, piggery, and dominance. And their moment of bravery necessitates a moment of soul-searching, especially from men who like to think of themselves as decent and good. In that spirit, I need to share a story. No, not that kind of story. It's just that 3 years ago, when we were stunned by similar charges against Bill Cosby, I remember being surprised to learn he'd actually been accused before, way back in 2005. Why hadn't I known this, I wondered. It turned out I had. I'd even written about it, though in that column I spent less time damning him than decrying the fact that this public moralizer had opened himself to charges of hypocrisy. Then I apparently forgot all about it. In my own defense, I write 94 columns a year, and the 2005 accusation was not nearly as compelling or convincing as those that exploded in 2014. Still, I forgot about it. It did not become part of my mental file on Cosby. That lapse embarrassed me then, it embarrasses me now. Because it is, I think, emblematic of the way too many men regard the sexual harassment of women. Even when we think we take it seriously, we do not take it seriously. The Los Angeles Times reports that rumors of Tubak's predations went back to the 80s. Weinstein's perviness was supposedly an open secret. O'Reilly's alleged behavior was likewise well known. Why then did the men around them not speak out, stand up, decline to work with them? Seems that even when we fancy ourselves women's allies, we too often fail to impose any sanction, even the sanction of our disapproval, even the sanction of memory, on the predators among us. And they pay no price. On the contrary, one guy bragged of being a sexual predator last year, and he was elected president. So the message of this moment could not be more clear. Men must do better. Men must be better, and this one will. Leonard Pitts Jr., winner of the 2004 Pulitzer Prize for Commentary, is a columnist for the Miami Herald, 3511 Northwest 91 Avenue, Doral, Florida 33172. Readers may write to him via email at lpitts@miamiherald.com.
Confusion coming with California's illegal marijuana. Ready or not, California kicks off recreational marijuana sales on January 1st. And mostly it's not. Los Angeles and San Francisco are among many cities still struggling to fashion local rules for pot shops and growers. Without the regulations, there could be little options in many places for consumers eager to ring in the new year with legal pot purchase. The bulk of folks probably are not going to be ready January 1st, conceded Carol Martinson of the California State Association of Counties. In general, California will treat cannabis like alcohol, allowing people 21 and older to legally possess up to an ounce and grow 6 marijuana plants at home. Come January, the newly legalized recreational sales will be merged with the state's 2-decade-old medical marijuana market, which is also coming under much stronger regulation. But big gaps loom in the system intended to move cannabis from the field to distribution centers, then to testing labs, and eventually retail stores. The state intends to issue only temporary licenses starting in January, and it has yet to release its plan to govern the estimated $7 billion marketplace, the nation's largest legal pot economy. If businesses are licensed and operating in the legal market, governments aren't collecting their slice of revenue from sales. The state alone estimates it could see as much as $1 billion roll in within several years. Operators have complained about what they see as potential conflicts in various laws and rules, or seemingly contradictory plans. The state expects businesses that receive licenses will only work with others that hold them. But that has alarmed operators who wonder what will happen if their supplier, for example, decides not to join the new legal market. Others say it's not clear what would happen in cities that don't enact pot laws, which they warn could open a loophole for businesses to set up shop. Some communities have banned recreational sales completely. Most banks continue to refuse to do business with marijuana operators. Pot remains illegal under federal law, and there are also problems obtaining insurance. With recreational legalization fast approaching, we don't have enough anything. Lamented Ezekiel Allen, Executive Director of California Growers Association Marijuana Industry Group. The route to legalization began last year when voters approved Proposition 64, which opened the way for recreational pot sale to adults in the nation's most populous state. Unlike the state, cities and counties face no deadline to act. However, the concern is that confusion and a patchwork of local rules could discourage operators from entering the legal economy. feeding a black market that could undercut the legitimate one. Local regulation is a foundation block of the emergency pot economy. A grower or retailer needs a local permit first, which is a stepping stone to obtaining a state license to operate. But those rules remain in limbo in many places. San Jose, the state's third largest city, has a temporary ban on sales other than medical pot, but officials this week proposed hearings to take another look at how to regulate the local industry. Kern County, home to nearly 900,000 people, has banned the sale of marijuana even as California legalizes it. Supervisors said they see it as a danger to citizens and also voted to phase out more than 24 medical marijuana dispensaries. In Los Angeles, which by some estimates could be a $1 billion marketplace, voters have been strongly supportive of legal pot. But its proposed regulations hit snags, including a dispute over a proposal for so-called certificates of compliance, which operators feared would not meet qualification requirements for state licenses.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our address is P.O. Box 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at area code 910-672-1600 or toll free at 1-844-709-5656. The radio hosts are
Beverlyn Simonette
and Robert Bean, and we are proud to serve you today. Support groups for Mondays. Celebrate Recovery meets from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Aaron Lake Baptist Church on 1130 Bingham Drive. This is a multi-denominational, Christ-based 12-step program. It can include post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, abuse, drugs, alcohol, and more. For more information, call 424-7211 or contact John at 723-2319. Suicide Grief Support Group meets at 6:30 p.m. at Manna Church on 5117 Cliffdale Road, Building A. This is for those who are grieving the loss of a relative, friend, co-worker, or loved one. For more information, call area code 910-302-8548. The Tia Hart Community Recovery Program meets from 7 to 8 p.m. at 116 East Elwood Avenue in Rayford. For more information, call 848-1872. Al-Anon meets at 7 p.m. at Haymont United Methodist Church Youth Activity Center on 1900 Fort Bragg Road. For more information, call 678-8002. Divorce Care meets from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Manna Church on 5117 Cliffdale Road. For more information, contact Tim or Tracy at 892-5439. And Christ We Do Recover meets from 8 to 9 p.m. This is an open meeting at the Hope Harbor Christian Mission on US 301 South Service Road. It deals with chemical dependency. For more information, you can contact Woody at 423-0608 or 424-8800, extension 272. Alcoholics Anonymous has several meetings on Mondays. There are 7 a.m., noon, 5:30, 8, and 11 p.m. meetings at 626 Sandalwood Drive. There's an 8:30 a.m. meeting at 521 Hillsborough Street, a 10 a.m. meeting at 40 Marion Road in Lumberton, Holy Trinity Episcopal Church on 1601 Rayford Road has a noon meeting. There are noon, 5:30, and 8 p.m. meetings at 604 German Street. MT 2357 Quartermasters of Fort Bragg has a noon meeting. There's a noon meeting at 6:30 p.m. at 401 East 1st Street in Lumberton. Island Presbyterian Church of 111 Highland Avenue has a 6:30 p.m. meeting. Myroba Reese on 560 Wilkes Road has a 6:30 p.m. meeting. There's a 7 p.m. meeting on 1241 Pine Knoll Drive in Spring Lake. United Methodist Church of 4624 Campground Road has a 7 p.m. meeting. United Methodist Church on 4955 Legion Road in Hope Mills has an 8 p.m. meeting. There's an 8 p.m. meeting at Manna Church in room 215 on 5117 Cliffdale Road. The Alcoholics Anonymous hotlines are 678-8733 or 678-8002. Recovery in Action meets at 8 p.m. at Manna Church on 5117 Cliffdale Road. For more information, call 867-9151. The Landing, a meeting for teens 13 to 18 seeking healing from their hurts, hang-ups, and habits, meets from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Erin Lake Baptist Church Family Life Center on 1130 Bingham Drive. Narcotics Anonymous. To find weekly meeting times and locations, call 866-418-9500 or visit their website at crna.org. People Assisting Victims meets at 7:30 p.m. at Cumberland Community Foundation Building on Green Street. Sex Addicts Anonymous. To find meeting times and locations, call 1-800-477-8191. Takeoff Pound Sensibly meets at 5:30 p.m. at First Baptist Church on 202 Summit Drive in Sanford. For more information, call 1-800-932-8677. Go to their website, tops.org. That's TOPS.org.
In your opinion, pager, taking care of business pays off by Tim White. It was a routine interview, the kind that generations of young reporters trudge through, paying their dues on government process stories as they move up the newsroom ladder. It was 45 years ago, and I was that young reporter taking those initial steps. But the interview stuck with me. It comes back to me every time I see a story about a local business getting incentives and expanding in a way that will bring more good jobs to the community. I was sitting on that day in 1972 in the Barnstable County offices, a good old stone building in Cape Cod's county seat. Across the desk from me was Norman Cook, the executive director of the Cape Cod Planning and Economic Development Commission, a fledgling group that was one of the county's first tentative steps into better organized efforts to plan and bring jobs to the 15-town peninsula on the Massachusetts coast. That's the first time I heard those words. An economic developer's first job is to take care of the business he's already got. I think about Cook every time I talk with an economic developer who voices some variation on that theme. And just about every economic developer I've talked with since then has repeated it. That's why I thought about Norman Cook, the affable but crusty old New Englander, twice this month, but were occasions worthy of celebration. First Advanced Computer Learning Company announced that it's adding 75 jobs and expanding its headquarters downtown. The Computer Education and Software Company is investing more than $600,000 in the expansion, which will include new production and virtual reality studios, a recording studio, and improved broadband infrastructure. The new jobs will pay an average of $58,400. Fayeteville and Cumberland County each put up $37,500 in incentive grants, which were a 2-for-1 match that will bring a $150,000 grant from the One North Carolina Fund. And then Brian Kent, CEO of defense contractor K3 Enterprises, announced that his company has won a new Department of Defense contract that means he'll be hiring 32 more employees at an average salary of $91,000. The city is providing a 5% match for a $400,000 state rural economic development grant to expand its offices at the old Sears warehouse on Cumberland Street. Both businesses are defense oriented. K3 was born in Fayetteville's Defense and Security Technology Accelerator in 2005. First Advance works with the Army Forces and Special Operations Command on Fort Bragg. They are natural business ventures for this city, where they can take advantage of both proximity to Fort Bragg and a workforce that is heavy with skilled veterans who can easily work with military-oriented projects. What's notable here is the salaries. Both companies are paying solid middle-class wages. This is a marked contrast to what we're seeing from businesses recruited from elsewhere that don't have a defense connection. Most job announcements in recent years have been in warehouses, distribution, and call centers, many of them paying only slightly better than minimum wage. The proposed Sanderson Farms chicken processing plant that ended up in Robeson County would have been similar. The management jobs would have paid livable wages, but the workers likely would have qualified for food stamps, jobs that are essentially being subsidized by the taxpayers. Now, we certainly do need those entry-level jobs for people among us who lack training for more lucrative employment. But when almost every job announcement involves low-paying jobs, it can be depressing. The city won't really prosper until it can begin attracting professional level employment, and will keep exporting our children to other cities where those good professional jobs are readily available. But this month, we're getting those good jobs. It's a sweet change for the better. Developments like these can create synergies, attracting other companies that offer similar jobs in the city's booming downtown. With the minor league baseball park the way, along with more residential, commercial, and restaurant space, is an added enticement. So is the creation of a downtown arts and entertainment district. And it all began because our economic developers and local leaders took good care of the business we already have. That plain-spoken New Englander's wisdom of 45 years ago still holds true. Tim White is the Observer's editorial page editor. Follow him on Twitter at What Tim Said. He can be reached at 486-3504 or twhite@fayobserver.com. You can discuss this column online by going to fayobserver.com/opinion and clicking on today's column.
On television tonight, ABC WTVD Channel 11, WPDE Channel 15. From 8 to 10, Dancing with the Stars, a scary Halloween-themed night live. From 10 to 11, The Good Doctor. Tonight's episode, Not Fake. CBS WNCN Channel 17 and WBTW Channel 13. From 8 to 8:30, Kevin Can Wait. From 8:30 to 9, JKL, The Key to Life. From 9 to 9:30, Superior Donuts. From 9:30 to 10, Me, Myself, and I, New Job. From 10 to 11, Scorpion, tonight's episode, Queen Scary, the team looks for ghosts. Fox, WRAZ Channel 50, WGHP Channel 8, and WSFX Channel 26. From 8 to 9, Lucifer, a food chemist, is found dead. From 9 to 10, The Gifted, Blink's dreams lead to a confrontation. From 10 to 11, The News. NBC, WRAL Channel 5, WECT Channel 6, and WMBF Channel 32. From 8 to 10, The Voice, the Knockouts premiere. Contestants compete against teammates. From 10 to 11, The Brave, a potential threat is discovered. PBS, WUNC Channel 4, WUNU, and WUNJ. From 8 to 9, Antiques Roadshow. From 9 to 10:30, American Masters, featuring writer Edgar Allan Poe. And from 10:30 to 11:30, Secrets of the Dead. A&E Channel 21. From 8 until 11, The First 48, Murder in the Family. A young father is shot to death. AMC Channel 41. From 7:30 to 9:30, a one-star horror film from 1995, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, starring Donald Pleasance. An ancient Celtic ritual drives a killer. And from 9:30 to 11:30, a four-star horror film from 1978, Halloween, starring Donald Pleasance. Escaped maniac embarks on a holiday rampage of revenge. Discovery Channel, Channel 42, from 8 to 9, Fast and Loud, Revved Up, featuring the 73 Step Van Custom Build. From 9 to 10, Fast and Loud, Monkeys team up with Dallas Hot Rodder. And from 10 to 11, Diesel Brothers. TVN, Channel 68, from 8 to 9, Praise the Lord. From 9 to 9:30, Franklin. From 9:30 to 10, Jesse Duplantis. From 10 to 10:30, Graham TV. From 10:30 to 11, Greg Laurie.tv. TBS Channel 24, from 8 to 10, 4 back-to-back episodes of Family Guy. From 10 to 11, 2 back-to-back episodes of American Dad. Turner Classic Movies Channel 54. From 8 to 10:30, a 3-star war film from 1921, silent film The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, starring Rudolph Valentino and Alice Terry. Argentine family in World War I Europe. And beginning at 10:30, a 3-star comedy from 1985, Back to the Future, starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. And the Learning Channel, Channel 23, from 8 to 10, 90 Day Fiancé. For the 90 days, couples reunite. And from 10 to 11, 90 Day Fiancé Extended. And that's what's on television.
Green Beret homicide probe centers on Navy SEALs. The U.S. military has launched a homicide investigation into the death of a Special Forces soldier in Malai and whether members of the Navy SEALs had a role in his killing. Staff Sergeant Logan Melger died June 4th in Malai's capital, Bamako, where he was deployed as a member of the Army's 3rd Special Forces Group. A spokesman for Army Special Operations Command, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bachhold, said Melger's death is under investigation, but he declined to release additional details. The cause is listed as homicide. 2 U.S. military officials familiar with the case told the Washington Post on Sunday Melger's death was first reported by the New York Times, which said a Naval Criminal Investigation Service investigation now centers on 2 members of the Navy's SEAL Team 6 and a medical examiner's determination that Melger died by strangulation. No criminal charges have been filed, the Times reported. A spokesman with U.S. Special Operations Command declined to comment on the case. Ed Booth, a spokesman for the NCIS, confirmed its role in the probe, saying the agency took over for the Army's Criminal Investigative Division in late September. He declined to address how Melger died, saying NCIS does not discuss the details of ongoing investigations.
Voter question of the week for candidates. Each week we choose a question from a reader and pose it to candidates running in the municipal elections. This question came from a Fayeteville voter who attended the Observer's Candidate Forum. Why are some corridors in the city, such as Bonnie Doon and Bragg Boulevard, being neglected economically as the rest of the main corridors flourish? Is there anything the city could do about these disparities? We sent the question to the Fayetteville City Council and mayoral candidates. Their responses are unedited, except to adhere to the length limit. Fayetteville mayoral candidates. Incumbent Nat Robertson. I believe in the broken windows theory. For Bragg Boulevard and other corridors to be redeveloped, they have to be presentable for prospective investors. Improving the appearance of our corridors and gateways into Fayetteville has been a focus for me. In fact, immediately after taking office, I created the Gateways Committee to monitor and improve the aesthetics and economic opportunities along our main thoroughfares. My goal is to make Fayetteville more competitive with other cities across North Carolina and the Southeast. I have done that over the past 4 years because I believe city government must be more user-friendly to those wishing to invest in our city. We can have planned growth while keeping Fayetteville clean and green. As your mayor, I will continue to bring jobs, development, and an improved quality of life to Fayetteville. Mitch Colvin. As chairman of the Gateways and Corridor Committee, this is a question that resonates with me. Although we have made significant improvements to many of our corridors, I agree that Bragg Boulevard, Bonnie Doon area, like many other areas, are being left behind. Over the last few years, the Gateway Committee made recommendations to City Council regarding this area. However, many of the items, such as signed ordinance and the establishment of zoning overlay, were not fully supported by the mayor and some others on council. We need a dual approach. First, to establish an overlay, which would restrict certain type of business uses in the specific area, for example, outdoor trailer storage. Secondly, to establish an economic incentive plan targeting challenged areas to incentivize certain business growth and development. And finally, increase funding to the Gateway Committee, which has made tremendous progress throughout the city, and tree planting and landscaping medians, and the installation of new Fayetteville signs. City Council District 1, Curtis L. Brown Sr. While I fully understand your view that the city has neglected Bonnie Doon and Bragg Boulevard economically, I have found that's not the case at all. With all the current and future projects ongoing in and around the city of Fayetteville, I feel there's been a breakdown in the following 3 areas of synchronization, prioritization, and effective communication to the public on exiting gateway projects. There is a very detailed plan, which is 155 pages long, for the area in question. The plan is called Something to Brag About, a new vision for Bragg Boulevard. The Bragg Boulevard Corridor Plan outlines recommendations and strategies for creating a vibrant multimodal corridor. The plan presents a concept for the transformation of Bragg Boulevard to a multimodal corridor that strengthens mobility, accessibility, and prosperity for Fayetteville. The city must do a better job at synchronizing and prioritizing projects equitably citywide. Incumbent Kathy Keith Jensen. The research, planning, and work that we have accomplished with PwC and the Department of Transportation is the partnership required to enhance major corridors. We are very fortunate that the city has seen immense growth in so many areas. Bragg Boulevard used to be the major corridor connecting the city core to Fort Bragg and is still a major economic highway. Since that time, other major roads have increased the development of homes, businesses, and government facilities. The city is taking strong measures to create opportunity, development, and infrastructure in many areas once considered low income or blighted. As chairperson of the sports complex facility that is proposed to be developed on Bragg Boulevard, I understand that this project will be an economic multiplier, will help stimulate the development, appearance, and growth of the Bonnie Doon area and Bragg Boulevard. True growth is captured with a combination of commercial projects, government infrastructure, and citizen input. And this includes our reading, the Monday Fayetteville Observer for October 30th, 2017. Your radio hosts have been
Beverlyn Simonette.
and Robert Bean. Please continue to listen to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service for more local and regional news. We've enjoyed being with you. Have a wonderful day.